Hello, welcome back to my 100 Spotify OCs series, in which I'm making a character based on each song from my Spotify Wrapped 2025. This episode is about Emerald Star by Lord Huron. It's song number 93 on my playlist, so this is character number 7. The song is, like most of their songs, a really dreamy, kind of a storyscape. The POV character is someone who has traveled potentially supernaturally through time and space, that's like all they say about it, to arrive to the subject of the song, who seems ungrateful for their presence. Lord Huron is great at writing like really creepy entitled male characters. They do this a lot. A lot of the songs off of Ends of the Earth, which is my favorite album, are like that. I don't know what this says about me, but I like the song because it sounds really cool. And the song is called Emerald Star. There's a lot of celestial imagery, a lot of like dark and light contrasted, and the color of the light being green. So there's a lot of interesting ways that could go down like a sci-fi celestial route, and so that's how I'm gonna choose to interpret it. So in my brainstorming, I made kind of a humanoid alien because I wanted to keep drawing humanoids. That was kind of the only reason I boxed myself in that way, and I may unbox myself because I literally wrote in my notes, he is so milquetoast right now, and he really is. This is just Tumblr bait. This is just a guy that looks like a monster or an alien. So instead, I'm just gonna go off the walls crazy and design something that is probably unsettling to look at and unpleasant to gaze upon. And the kind of backstory here is going to be that this character is an alien who has perhaps crash landed on Earth or otherwise has traveled to Earth, and they're mistaking the interest of like a local astronomer in the sky and in the heavens as interest in them personally, because that's kind of how the song comes across, or one possible way you could interpret the song is a better way to say that. Like that's a story that I could draw from the overarching narrative of the song. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm gonna leave it up to whoever gets this character, whether they want to keep that or not, but that's kind of going to be the motivating factor for me. So a weird attempt at connection based on misconceptions or misunderstanding things, because this is an alien from another world, so it doesn't understand human behavior. So I kind of read it as like a malicious intent or like a possessive, very entitled sort of character, because that's, again, a lot of the tone in the song, but I don't want to keep it in that narrow negative route for whoever gets this character, because that would not be a very pleasant character to receive. I'll make the design kind of unappealing or scary, but you can still have a character who ends up being appealing and sweet, even if they look kind of scary. So hopefully it'll have enough flexibility to go either way, but I'm gonna make a monster, and I'm really excited about that. All right, so there are maybe a few things in this original design that I might like. What if we did something different and gave it like, maybe like a head or legs that seem familiar, and then the rest of it is absolutely not? This is harder because I'm not gonna use much of the brainstorm sketch at all, if anything, so we're just kind of going crazy here. Ooh, okay, another thought. The way that like telephone poles have those coils of wires on them, and sometimes it can look kind of messy. Those transmit data through space in kind of an interesting, otherworldly way. Like, we figured it out now, so they're very demystified for us. But what if I have like a wiry, like a tangled mess of a monster? Maybe it's got tendrils coming down from it. Maybe that's on its back. Maybe it's quadrupedal, but it has legs like a person's legs. I have to also remember that this is like an alien monster, so maybe gravity on its planet is not the same. So maybe it's droopier here. Maybe Earth's gravity is stronger, so it's harder for it to move around, and it kind of has to crawl, when on its own planet it would not have to do that. So I'm gonna give it like a hunched over person vibe, where you're like, ooh, that thing maybe isn't supposed to be on all fours, but it is. Okay, yeah, I don't know how much I like this sketch, but I like that concept. Maybe you can't even see its head because it's kind of shrouded in the coils. But maybe it can kind of look out at you from them. That could be a striking image. I also don't want it to look too humanoid in the first place. Like, this, wonky proportions aside, looks like a person that's crawling on the ground and they just had a plate of spaghetti dropped on them. So like, first pass, this is fine, but we'll think about the utility of the wires. We'll try to draw a little version of how this thing would exist. Maybe it doesn't have arms. Maybe it still has 2 legs for ambulating around. I'm accidentally giving it a cute anime girl pose. That's fine, it's gonna be fine. So maybe it's like that, but maybe it's really got a network of wires, like feelers, that are part of it. Maybe even directly connected to its nervous system. And those are supposed to be able to move around freely. They just don't have as many supportive muscles in them. It's more like, I guess our fingers can stand up to gravity just fine, but I'm thinking about how a hand really isn't super beefy, like it maybe can't support its own weight very well, but it has a lot of fine motor control. So maybe that's the vibe here. So maybe it doesn't have arms. Because I was trying to think about other things that are bipedal but don't necessarily have arms, so my thought went to like a wyvern dragon, which is the kind that just has the legs. And then it has the arms. Or like Godzilla, because he barely has arms. We still love him, but there's not a lot going on there. So maybe that's kind of how this thing is supposed to look. That's really cool. That's a lot cooler than what I had earlier. We just 86 the arms. Oh, okay, another thing. There's something like a little angel-y about this idea of the many wire coils around it. Like the many-winged seraphim of the Bible. So like, not to be sacrilegious, but obviously like demons, which are fallen angels, probably morphologically look really similar to many of the angels that are good guys, TM. So, I don't know, I kind of like how this could be interpreted in that sort of way. Now he can't be crawling like this though. Okay, well, this page isn't a waste. I am gonna have to draw the finished thing on the other side of my Khajiit OC, but that's okay. So I'm gonna draw it like squatting, and it would be very cool if I had thought to get a reference image for this, because I'm already having a hard time. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's the foreleg. Here's like the thigh coming up. Foreleg and foot. Maybe it's got toad feet as well. Not toad as in the frog-like animal, but toad as in having toes. This knee will be a little more forward. So we're seeing this. Maybe it's hunched over a little because of the weight of all the wiry tendrils. I want it so that it's looking kind of up through these tendrils. At the viewer. So on these little references, it's gonna have to have other, maybe direct feedback loops. Like maybe this thing lives on a planet where some of your nervous system is externalized. Maybe that's what we're seeing. My gosh, if like half the nerves in my body were receiving direct contact with the world around me, you can bet I would be really messed up about that. So it makes sense for this monster to be acting monstrous, because like what else is it supposed to do? Yeah, that's really creepy. Okay, cool. I was definitely a bit intimidated by this one because I don't know why. Lord Huron, most of their songs have like a horror lean to them when you look at the lyrics, but the vibes are just like indie folk rock. Not always though. Some of their music is like super normal, and then some of their music is really cool and weird and experimental. that's probably how a lot of the stuff on this channel is going to be. Okay, I'm remembering now. There was a little toy I had as a kid. I'm gonna draw it somewhere else so that it doesn't disrupt this. But it was shaped like a handle, and then it had like a slightly larger part at the top. I'm guessing to house the motors that did this. It had a hole in each side, and it had a long string, like really long string, that was like tie-dyed almost, like it had multicolor on it. And the string would hang limp, but it had motors in it that would run the string through it, through the handle really fast, so that it could kind of hold its shape. So you could make weird shapes with it. And that's kind of how I'm picturing that this creature's sort of like tendrils operate. Maybe not that they're like literally rotating through the thing. Oh, this poor creature, and I just feel bad for him. I'm also gonna reworkshop the feet. I don't like them very much. They don't feel congruous with what this kind of creature would be. If I'm a made-up tendril creature that does not exist anywhere in reality. Oh, no, okay. I'm thinking about like those frilly slugs now. I'm just gonna give it like sluggish feet, like its feet are slugs of their own. Because if you think about the planet this thing might have come from, let's make it a stripy planet so that it can't be mistaken for Earth at a glance. The type of planet where the gravity is super low, to the extent that you can have these little tendrils coming out of you, is also the type of planet where you can probably just kind of like slide along on your slug feet with very little resistance. Here's our little sopping wet, pathetic spaghetti guy who comes from a planet that is very much not like ours. I don't know how much further I will render this, but I will leave it here for now and sit on it for a little bit. I decided it would be easiest just to ink this for the finishing touches, so here's a time lapse of that. At the end, I add a few more little details in the background because I really liked the idea of the power lines behind it to show that it is on Earth now. I nearly forgot this episode's artist inspiration. It is rhymes.y, or Yasmin Wooster. On Instagram, she's rhymes.y, and I really like her animal art. She's one of the artists I've been following longest out of the ones I'm shouting out, and her work usually resonates with me, but even when it doesn't, it's just beautifully put together, and she draws so many different subjects. You can tell she's not afraid of pretty much anything. So I really love her work. She's worth a follow. Check out her stuff, and she has an extensive catalog of work on Instagram. I will link that and possibly any other important links for her in the description. And that'll be it for this video. Just as a reminder, I do have a free Patreon, which you can join. It's linked in the description. If you would like to hear the song that this character is based off of, I'm not including it in the video due to copyright, but a link to that song will also be in the description. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Friday.